Okay, next video here about mag particle. Looking at the basic wet bench, kind of simple fluorescent magnetic particle inspection. If you're just kind of taking your broad view here, really what you're looking at is headstock, tailstock. Okay, we would mount our part in between here, which we'll do in just a second. I've got just a round bar here that we're going to use. Okay, so we've got a headstock over here with a copper pad, and a tailstock over here with the copper pad. These guys are removable to some degree to help induce. Let me get one off here. There we go. Okay, removable so that when we induce current, if these copper braided pads start to get worn out, we can replace them with newer ones. And these are starting to get worn out, but we don't need to necessarily replace them yet. They're getting closer. Okay, so headstock, tailstock. When we talk about a head shot, that's what this is all about. Okay, then we go talking about a coil shot. Here's our coil shot, basically our coil. Inside of here are five braided lines, but five wraps of a cable. Okay, and this cable really is our conductor, where we would take our piece, set our piece down inside of this coil, low fill factor coil, with this piece in it, and we would induce what we would call ampere turns from our coil. Okay, some people say 5 ampere turns. All that stuff, or depending on the amperage, you start talking about ampere turns then. But anyway, headstock, tailstock for our head shot, basic coil here for our coil shot. This guy across through here doesn't matter the length for our head. Okay, this guy here does matter our length for the coil. So, taking a look at that, let's get a look now down at the actual control settings for the bench there. If we're looking here, let me kind of zoom in a little bit, so we can see a little bit better. Okay, here's our bar. Okay, this bar helps us actually push this button right here to tell us whether or not we have any juice flowing or not. If you could read this, this would say contacts and this would say coil, which it does. Okay, this is our amperage selector right here. 1,000, 2,000, 3, 4, 5, and 6,000 around. DMAG button. This unit features a DC DMAG, which we can just leave the part in here and push the DMAG button, and it'll make our 25 to 30 reversals. Help us out a little bit there. Okay? You hear that kind of clangy thing when I'm switching this? That's telling me that I'm switching back and forth between contacts and coil. Okay? So let's scoot in a little bit closer here. So now we can actually see how this thing works. So let's get you turned back up here where you need to be. Get you facing that headstock over there. This is our magnetic particle solution here. I should say suspension. It's really not a solution. Okay, and you can see here that it's actually green because of our fluorescence from our black light. Okay, so wet magnetic particle. Let me reel the tailstock in here so we can see it. There's just the end of it right there. Okay, and then let me get you a little bit farther over here actually. If I can keep from moving you all around, you might get a little seasick or something here. So, here's my piece. Okay, I want to get it somewhere in the middle here. I'm going to close this down. Actually, I want to bring this in just a little bit closer. And what you see on there, if you see the tape on here, that's actually a QQI. Okay, so quantitative quality indicator, as we've learned. All the black light stuff that we've talked about for penetrant, all that still rings true for mag. So, what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to look directly at this QQI. This would be me setting up a technique for this particular part. Okay? So I make sure I switch to contacts, which that's now on coil, that's now on contacts. Okay? I'm going to pull this over here just a second, point you up and over a little bit. Get my black light out of the way, turn you here. Bring you up a little bit here. If I push this button now, that's telling me I put in, you see 176 on there, that's actually 1760 amps. Okay? Which we'll get into that in just a minute. Let's get this turned back over here. Alright, we're back facing it. I'm going to turn it actually down to about 500 amps for now. 650 is what it's telling me, which is good enough for now. Okay? So I'm going to say I've calculated this out. I'm bringing my QQI to ensure that I have adequate field strength. Okay? So here's my solution one more time. It's fluorescent green, which is what we want. We apply our particles, and then we kerchunk, kerchunk. And if we've got a QQI, we should see flux leakage. Okay, our current is actually running through here. So in this case, we're creating circular magnetism, and our defects should actually run with the current. Okay? Which, if you're lucky, you can see that. Let me turn this just a little bit more so that helps us get the glare off. Okay? I'm just piddling here for a second. Alright, it is showing up, but it is hard to see. So, anyway, got a little tape here. I'm trying to clean it off as much as possible. So let's say we set it at 500 amps. We're not sure that's enough. Okay, so we set it at 500 amps. And I don't know if you can see that there. Probably can't see that in the video. But on my QQI, I'll get you close enough here in just a second where you'll be able to see it. Develops a line on my part, which is what I want. So let me get you loose here so I can bring you up to the camera and show you. Try and keep from ruining my flip video here. So you're looking at the part still, which is good. Taking you off the stand. This is not a witness stand, although it could kind of be thought of as the witness stand. Let's get you out of here. Okay. Looking at a wet bench. Let's get up here a little bit closer. Okay. We really don't see anything going on. Let's make it a little bit more fluorescent here. That's better. I think we'll be able to see something now. Get this stuff out of the way. Okay, here's my particles. Kerchunk, kerchunk. You should see little bitty lines develop in there, which I did. I'm just going to do it one more time here. I'm going to, there on the left side of your screen, and then right in the center as well, there was my QQI showing up. Let me give it a little bit more gas. I'm going to bump us to about 1,000 amps here, and I'm going to do it one more time, see if that gets a little bit more distinct. Which it does. Okay, so now let me try that right there. Just doing this over and over again to try and get a good, there they were, a good clean picture on my QQI here. Okay, so we saw our lines coming straight through here, and actually if you look over here, we've got new lines and new defects developing over there. And you saw them come right to life. There was one right here, and then there's another right there right now. Okay, so let me back out of there. So that tells me I have adequate field strength in my circular field. So 600 amps was really good enough. I cranked it up to 1,000 to get the defects to look a little bit cleaner. Okay, so now we're going to go coil shot, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to flip to coil. I'm going to say that I've calculated all this out, which I'm just blind guessing right now, which is okay. Let me turn this so I can see what's going on here. Alright, so I'm looking at it. I've got my fluorescent light on it. I'm going to do exactly what I shouldn't have done. But that's okay. What I've just done is shown you something not to do. So give me a second here. What I did was left my coil, or energized my coil with my black light right down beside it because I only got two hands and I'm trying to run three things. So that's my own fault, but what are you going to do? It happens. So now I'm going to let my black light set for a minute, and then I'm going to bring it back, or I'm going to go over here to my other wet bench, which has a bunch of stuff in it right now. I have a different wet bench, and I'm actually going to grab my other black light from here, bring it over, just to get me started. Okay? So, sorry it feels like you're getting seasick. I know it does. So let me get that parked up there. Let me get my new black light right here, which I've got running. Okay, here's my new black light. That was the old one that I just messed up. So, anyway, back to my piece here now. I'm back to having some sort of fluorescence here. Okay? So this time, I'm going to leave my black light out of it. I'm going to apply my particles. Okay? Apply my particles, apply my particles. I'm going to kerchunk, kerchunk. I'm going to grab my black light. And I'm going to come down here and start looking. I can get you to a point where you can see something here. And at this point, I just barely see my vertical indications is what I'm looking for. Okay, my black light's getting a little stronger. I can see them a little better here. So what I'm looking for are vertical indications, which I can see them, but you might not be able to. So I'm going to give it just a little bit more gas to see if that helps at all. Sorry, you're looking at me punching the bar here. Okay. And they are a little bit more distinct now. I'm looking, there's an indication right here above my finger. Okay. It actually looks, there you go, now you can see it. There's 1, 2, 3 indications right there. Okay? And if I were to wipe them away, they'd be gone now. So, basic operation of a pie gauge. I know you kind of got jerked around here, but now you at least can see it, because I'm trying to operate, like I said, 2 or 3 things at one time, and now over time that'll become a little bit easier, hopefully. So did a head shot, did a coil shot, looked at the QQI, hopefully made it a little bit easier on you. Any questions or concerns, give me a holler or shoot me an email or something like that, and I'll do what I can to help you. Thank you.